BBC Radio Scotland. You'll be tuned in to Pat Bonner, Billy Dodds and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Richard. Fabulous entertainment and drama on Sports Sound already this afternoon. What will this game offer in that regard? 13,000 days since Dundee last beat Celtic here at Dens. They will attempt to end that outrageous run by damaging Celtic's title ambitions, just as they did to Rangers last time out, and enhance their own hopes of qualifying for Europe for the first time since 2002 by leapfrogging St Mirren into fifth. As for Celtic, it's just one defeat in 19, and they've scored 3 or more in their last 6 games as they have upped the ante in the final stages of this season in search of a 12th title in 13 seasons. Huge Celtic following, as always, on the roads. They're brought to Dundee this afternoon, hoping their team can continue the positive run they've been on of late. But Dundee, equally for their part, have probably exceeded most people's expectations this season already, as the two teams change ends ahead of kick-off. And it will be Dundee all in their navy blue outfit, going from left to right as we look at it from the back of the main stand here. Celtic in their traditional green and white hoops, white shorts, white socks, go into the huddle as John Beaton pops the ball on the centre spot, ready for kick-off. Fabulous atmosphere inside Dens Park. The home fans also have turned out in good numbers in recognition of a brilliant first season back in the Championship under Tony Docherty. All the praise that has come his way and his team's way has been thoroughly deserved, you'd have to say, and they can make it even better if they can get into Europe by finishing 5th. The game next weekend here at home to St Mirren will go a long way perhaps to deciding that, but this afternoon it is the champions Celtic who get us underway. The league leaders now just by 4 goals of a superior goal difference on Rangers, but this game in hand, will they take advantage of that, or will they, like Rangers just about 10 days ago or so, find that they are also scuppered here by a much improved Dundee side? The Celtic in early possession in their own half. Liam Scales, who had a tough afternoon, has to be said, at Hampden against Aberdeen, and already you see Rio Hatate with a pass that normally on an ideal surface would have gone straight to Cameron Carter-Vickers, but because of the dry, bobbly nature of this surface today, it has had to be helped on by Callum McGregor. But Celtic still have possession, brought up to the halfway line by Carter-Vickers, as Dundee just drop back into a shape and try and cut down the options for Brendan Rodgers' side. Joe Hart sweeps out to the left-hand side, again slightly wayward, but Liam Scales will pick up and cross the halfway line on the left-hand side, just down in front of the Celtic dugout below us. Up forward for James Forrest, who started the game on the left. He'll give chase, looking for the 1-2, but it's too much on the return pass there from Greg Taylor, behind for a Dundee goal kick. A minute played, and it remains Dundee 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dundee's shape. They've tweaked it again, haven't they? They've pushed Mulligan out on this side. They're going to take care of the fullbacks if possible, and Tiffany is going to take care of Johnson, and obviously Taylor, he's been taken care of with Mulligan, so they're going to play McCowan just off of Bakayoko. So for the third time in the trot, he's tweaked it, just depending on which team he's playing.
It was always a trait I felt of Derek McInnes's sides when Tony Docherty was his assistant, that they would very much try and adapt to what the opposition were doing, not only before games, Billy, but during games as well. And it's clearly something that Tony Docherty has taken into his own managerial position.
I think you've got to, if you see the success that Derek McInnes has had, whether it's at Aberdeen and now Kilmarnock. So you're going to pick up those little traits, and that's exactly what he's done. But just because of the way they beat Rangers, I thought he might have kept to the same again today to trouble Celtic, but he's not.
Here's Forrest, edge of the box on the angle, slices his shot wide off the right foot, just coming in on from the left hand side there. Packy, it was a decent shooting opportunity, but a difficult one to get on target.
Yeah, it was. It kind of bobbled up on him a little bit, and when he struck it, it came off the outside of his right foot and went well wide. But James Forrest, he's got that ability to go on the outside and come on the inside, and he's shown that over the years. And there's also, he'll find himself in around the edge of the box at times, and there's always a goal in him. He showed it last week, of course, also. But how will he last the game will be the question. But there's enough on the bench, Yang, Palma, those guys, to come in and make an impact.
Dundee trying to come forward, but Scales sweeps it upfield, and it'll just be seen back to McCracken by Dodgson there at the edge of his penalty area, the on-loan Norwich goalkeeper, who's started now 7 games on the trot after the 7-1 defeat at Celtic Park, and clean sheets in his last couple. If he can maintain that record and lengthen it this afternoon, he'll be doing well as he launches it upfield looking for Bakayoko, who's well matched there by Scales, and Celtic pick up possession. It's Johnston for Kuhn on the right hand side, still well inside their own half. Back it goes to Joe Hart. He missed that penalty in the shootout, but then recovered to save from
do his job saving. I don't know if he'll take a penalty again. You never know.
He's not got all that long left in his career to do so. Maybe in the Scottish Cup final, I suppose.
Don't get Packy started. I'll try to go over last week.
Here's Carter Vickers out to the right hand side for Kuhn, up against Dodgson, looking to come in on the left on the angle. Dodgson slips, it opens up for Kuhn, he goes for goal. McCracken spilled it, but then gathers again before O'Reilly can pounce on that dry goal mouth that we were talking about pre-match. McCracken unable to gather at the first attempt. Kuhn's effort straight at him, and eventually he gathered, as I say, before O'Reilly could mop up the rebound.
Yeah, it was a difficult shot actually. It came off the deck, as you rightly say, and just caused a few issues for him. But he was lucky he didn't go to ground. If he went to ground and he let it spill, then he probably would have been in trouble. But he stayed on his feet and he was able to collect his second chance.
Here come Dundee. Tiffany left hand side, plays it forward for Dodgson. Dodgson plays it off the Celtic player who was tracking back. I think it was Kuhn away over on that far side, and he's won Dundee their first corner of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that started with a crazy goal kick out from McCracken. He kicked it, and he kicked it straight off Kyogo right in front of him. It broke to a Dundee player. They cleared it, they get the attack, and they get a corner out of it. So out of nothing, Dundee have their first attack.
Corner kick then from the left hand side is Dundee, who are set piece specialists in this league, and that's well defended by Taylor, who was marking Bakayoko actually, and he's given away a few inches there, but he did well as Dundee still trying to keep the pressure up on Celtic at the edge of the penalty area there, but it's knocked out of play in the end by Silla, and it's a Celtic throw in about 15 yards away from their own corner flag on the left hand side as Taylor prepares to take. And just as we saw with Rangers, with that pressure mounting at the end of the season here, the early goal you would imagine Celtic will be looking for to try and settle any nerves, but Dundee will be very much determined to keep them out. Carter Vickers bounds up towards the halfway line and plays it out to the right hand side to Kuhn, who, as Packy said, has been an improving figure in that Celtic team, and pretty much a first choice at the moment, as McGregor knocks it to Johnston. Maida still not in the squad despite having made a comeback. McCracken pushes a cross away well outside of his 6-yard box, good distance on that as it's played up towards Bakayoko, but Taylor gets it back to O'Reilly, and it's Taylor once more, left hand side, just tucks it infield for Forrest about 25 yards from goal. Boateng trying to hold him up. Johnston's in support now, out to the right hand side for Kuhn up against Dodgson again. He comes inside of him. Kuhn goes for goal again. McCracken pushes it away, and no Celtic player there ready to get the rebound on that occasion either, but that's a couple of times Nicholas Kuhn has hit the target early on. Still 0-0.
And the goalkeeper's done well, and I think on each occasion.
Yeah, he has.
The one that went across him almost, and he's come out and almost got a really good strong hand to it and knocked it away to the edge of the box, was a was really, really good, I think, because I think if he let it go, Kyogo's in round the back.
He's got to get it away from goal, and that's exactly what he's done. If he pushes it central, Kyogo has a tap in, but Kuhn's getting the better of Dodson right away. He's standing off him and letting him just come inside, and I know they've got runners. Just stay and get closer to Kuhn and try and put him under pressure, but the goalkeeper's pulled off 2 good saves.
Corner kick left hand side for Celtic to be taken by O'Reilly. 7.5 played, no goals as yet, as Celtic look to change that here. Swept him, Scales, and there's a header at the back post, and McCracken kept that out on the line. It was Taylor creeping in at the back post to get the final header there as Scales flicked it on. Still it's not entirely clear. Here's Forrest back into the box, away by McGee. Carter Vickers though heads it back in towards the edge of the penalty area. McGee high in the air, not clear, comes off the head of McCowan. He knew nothing about it, and it's going to be another Celtic corner as you hear the away support ramping up the noise as their team looks for the opening goal.
Greg Taylor's got to score the back post for me. It was a corner driven into that near post, in swinger. Scales gets across, which he does on a regular basis now. Gets across the front, flicks it on, and there was Greg Taylor on his own. He's just got to be strong enough to get that ball on target.
O'Reilly with another corner. Carter Vickers attacking that one. He was well matched in there by McGee. Had to be, as Dundee get it clear, but they're under significant pressure just at the moment as Celtic look to try and get the opener here. Going back the way just at the moment. McGregor to Johnston, scampers across into his own half and then plays it to Hatate just inside the Dundee half now as the Japanese midfielder plays it back the way to Carter Vickers. He's made a real difference having come back into the team, and of course with McGregor fit as well now in that midfield, it looks so strong with O'Reilly making up the 3. It's really, really skillful and powerful and just everything you want in a midfield trio.
Yeah, from a defensive perspective, but when it comes then to the defensive, because they play without one hold and 2 higher up the pitch, then there's a little bit of space that you can exploit if you hit them on the counter-attack.
Celtic are doing it well. They're using their centre half where some teams won't. They're the spare man, and McCowan's got a hard gig. He's trying to look after McGregor and then get to Carter Vickers or Scales, and then they're just releasing McGregor, so it's a hard one. By the time he gets to Carter Vickers or Scales, then Bakayoko's got to try and go on McGregor.
Here's Tiffany finding McCowan, Dundee captain, but he's stopped in his tracks by a sliding challenge from Carter Vickers. Dundee then come forward once more, but it's poked too far ahead of McCowan to chase. I think again a lot's been said about Luke McCowan this season, Billy, but he really has had a terrific season, having played in that much more central area from what we've seen him previously, but he really has stepped up to the plate, hasn't he?
I think he's been sensational, I really do. When I saw him at United all those years ago, I thought, yeah, good wee player, cuts in, inconsistent winger. He's turned into an all-rounder now. Can play off the front, as you see today. He's disciplined, and you know what? Tony Docherty's got so much faith in him, he's made him skipper today, so yeah, that says a lot about the lad.
Hatate losing out there in the midfield to Boateng. We've played just over 10 minutes as Dodson takes a chance, but then plays the pass to Lamy up towards the halfway line. Bakayoko looking to get the better of Carter Vickers. That looks like a good tussle in prospects. Bakayoko goes to ground. He's claiming he was foul, but John Beaton, the referee, was on hand and saw nothing amiss with that, and so Celtic get the throw in.
Yeah, you could have went either way, that one, to be perfectly honest, but Bakayoko's big and strong, and he is a handful, and they can play balls up to him, and he will put a lot of pressure on either centre half. He started off over in Carter Vickers more than Scales.
Here's Forrest left hand side up against McGee, comes infield. Hatate looks to get it back to Forrest. Forrest stands up to the back post, might have gone for goal himself there rather than trying to find Kuhn, who was coming in, and it just drifts behind rather harmlessly in the end. But good build-up play from Celtic, just a final ball not up to scratch. 11.5 play, Dundee 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, that ability of James Forrest coming on the inside again, linking in with Hatate. I think you're right, Al. I think he could have taken it on because he was almost in behind the defender that was trying to get back to him, and he just could have taken her on and maybe driven it across with his left foot, but he decided to go with his right, and it just wasn't the right angle.
It was lovely though, Pat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the little bounce off Hatate, and then McGee just took his eye off him for a minute. He was in, he could have gone and been direct or got a shot away, try to be unselfish and clip it to the back post.
McCowan battling away there with Hatate. Hatate ends up with possession down the left-hand side, but quickly closed down. Who did the ball come off? Last, the assistant on this near side flags in Dundee's favour. Yeah, Greg Taylor not happy with that particular decision. Stuart Taylor is running things down in the Dundee technical area this afternoon. Tony Docherty's assistant, with the manager in the stand somewhere down below us because of his most recent yellow card. I think that's 4 for the season he's picked up, and a ban from the dugout has accrued as Taylor, Greg Taylor that is, plays it off Jordan McGee, but it came back off the Celtic fullback, and it's out for another Dundee throw in midway inside the Celtic half on the right hand side as they come forward. And Jordan McGee certainly has a long throw in on him if he chooses to use it here, which I suspect he will, although Portales and Lamy have stayed at the back, so it is just a short throw into McCowan, and it comes back to Forrest in the end, and then he plays it upfield, and Portales has to go back to his goalkeeper. McCracken feigns to pass back to Portales and moves away from Kyogo and plays it out to the left hand side instead to Dodgson, who was looking to play the first time ball through for Bakayoko, who was probably offside in any case, but the pass wasn't accurate enough, and Celtic play it upfield. Dodgson though takes a poor touch, and Celtic pick up possession right hand side about 10 yards from the corner flag. Kuhn into the penalty area it comes. O'Reilly trying to bring it under control, breaks back the way. Hatate just pokes it to Forrest. Now McGregor midway inside the Dundee half. Taylor in a central position, plays it back to his captain McGregor, out to the right hand side and into Alistair Johnston now. Short ball for O'Reilly just at the edge of the box. Hatate, poor touch from him, but you can see that the pitch is not helping the players out there trying to get the ball under control, trying to play these short passes. It has to be absolutely on the money, but it's so difficult. The pitch has come under a lot of criticism for being overly wet over the course of the season, and today it's too dry.
I think that it's an intentional thing, I really do. Could have watered it, and they could also say if we water it though it'll flood, so they've got the excuse, but they've made sure that they saw how difficult it was for Rangers. Celtic have actually handled it pretty well, but looking at the Dundee side, Dundee have dug in pretty well because Celtic have put them under some pressure, and they've had to get through that period, and they've done so pretty well.
Dundee penalised there for a handball by Silla in the aerial battle, and it's a Celtic free kick about 10 yards inside their own half. Quarter of an hour played at Dens, no goals as yet. 2-1 Rangers. It finished in Paisley earlier on. I'm sure you know that already, but so the top two level on points coming into this one as the ball's played forward by Scales. Did it take a touch off a Dundee player? Mulligan, well, if you're in any doubt as to whether it did take a touch of a Dundee player, you surely just keep it in and play it upfield, but he took a chance, and then John Beaton gives it as a Celtic corner.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't take any chances when you're a defender. You deal with the situation,
and you'll be hoping he's not made to pay for that decision or indecision as O'Reilly sweeps it in from the left hand side. First contact from Bakayoko at the near post, comes out to McGregor, and now it's Kuhn, digs it into the penalty. Kyogo's in an offside position, doesn't go for it, and it's over his head and behind for a goal kick. Just over 15 played then. Dundee 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, listen, Celtic have had good intensity about their game. They've passed the ball quite well. They've pushed Dundee back at times. Dundee have handled it decently well, and they'll be glad they got over that sort of high intensity period. Now it's all about trying to settle into the game and creating a couple of opportunities for themselves. But Celtic will be disappointed they haven't maybe capitalised on that intense period at the start.
Both teams have done what they've had to do. I mean, probably Dundee knows Celtic are going to come at them. Celtic's perfect away day today is intensity right from the start, get a couple of early goals and enjoy the day. Dundee know that. They've dug in, they've made it hard. There's been a couple of saves from John McCracken, but it's not been all out pressure. But Dundee know the phases of the game, just get through this period.
Here's Carter Vickers crossing the halfway line, looking out to the right hand side, eventually playing it out there to Kuhn. Kuhn up against Dodgson. He's had the better of him so far. Dodgson knows he wants to come in on his left. He does that again, but there's a couple of Dundee players there on the cover. McGregor though picks up for Celtic, still right hand side, comes off McCowan, knocks it out of play. Celtic throw, and I should point out at this stage, before we go any further and before I forget, that 13,000 days stat I gave you early on was courtesy of my colleague Alan Patullo of the Scotsman, who had it in one of his articles, an excellent article about the last time Dundee beat Celtic here at Dens Park.
Well, I thought you were up all night counting that.
No, well, I would have been, but fortunately I have colleagues who are more willing to
very
do
intelligent colleagues, haven't you?
Yes, yes, certainly that. No, a good article, and I think we brought this up before, Packy, when you and I have been here, and it wasn't your good self. I think you were still on the treatment table after a European Championship injury back in 1988. Alan Rough made his debut in that game as Ian Andrews was dropped after the 5-1 at Ibrox, and it was Tommy Coyne who got the only goal that day back in 1988. No Dundee player today in the squad was born when Dundee last beat Celtic here at Dens Park.
There you go.
Here's Liam Scales coming forward.
A fountain of knowledge, that man.
Yes, Scales once more up towards the edge of the penalty area, out to the left-hand side for James Forrest, up against McGee. Goes on the outside, then checks back in the inside. Hatate leaves it. McCowan's there to pick up and just poke it forward, looking for Bakayoko, but Carter Vickers is there. First nods it out of play. He was looking for Scales, too much on it. Throw into Dundee, and still goalless in these opening stages here at Dens. And yeah, I think Dundee did weather just a little bit of a storm a few minutes ago, and now it's a little bit more even, but certainly Celtic still enjoying the bulk of the possession.
Bakayoko did well to put some pressure on Carter Vickers there, didn't he? He could have made an easy header to try and pop it to Scales, but Bakayoko just rushed at him, and he rushed the header and knocked out the play. Gives Dundee a throw in, try to relieve a bit of pressure.
It's all the way back with Joe Hart out of his area. Tiffany was trying to put him under pressure. Johnston just blocked him off. Dodgson wins the header. Johnston going back towards his own goal again. Plays it to Hart. First time ball well over the halfway line. Lammy's across there. He returns it down the left hand side for Dundee. Good first touch from McCowan. Turns away from McGregor, who is keeping a close eye on him, much as McCowan is on McGregor. Here's McCowan once more, left hand side. Tries to play it in towards the edge of the area. Scales gets something on it to knock it away. Dodgson steps in though to win it back for Dundee, and Silla plays it to Portales just inside his own half. 19 played, 0-0. Here's McGee, right hand side for Dundee, just inside the Celtic half. Bakayoko gets it from Mulligan. Mulligan nudges it back to McGee. McGee into the box. Scales was in the way. Mulligan picks up right hand side, plays it off Scales again. Now there's an offside flag up. I think, yeah, the assistant was waiting and eventually flagged that it will be a free kick to Celtic just outside their own penalty area. 19.5 on the clock and still no goals.
Yeah, and just 20 minutes gone in this game, and Kyogo, I don't think he's touched the ball yet, has he?
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
and because he plays that sort of kind of almost role on his own, and the way that Celtic play is that they almost link the game up, and they don't link it up with him. He's the one that sort of kind of almost threatens the back of people, but nothing's come for him yet.
Couldn't work to Johnston, midway inside the Dundee half, right hand side, further back to Carter Vickers, who scored in that 7-1, his only goal of the season actually, Cameron Carter Vickers. 7 different scorers on that occasion. Dundee looking far more resolute so far, as Silla does well to win his side a free kick. Just showed a bit to Johnston there, felt he could win the ball, but he was taken down, and Dundee will have the free kick midway inside their own half. As Brendan Rodgers mentioned, it is 13-1 on aggregate to Celtic in the 3 meetings so far.
Counts for nothing
this season. No, it does, but it just gives you some idea of Celtic's dominance. And in fact, if you go a little bit further back, having won the last 9 games against Dundee, it's 35-5 in that period. But as you say, and as Brian pointed out to Brendan Rodgers, 0-0 at the start of this game, and it's still 0-0 after 20, as Bakayoko wins the header, and it falls to Mulligan, edge of the box. Can he spin away and try and find McCowan? Celtic managed to pick up, but then the shot comes in at the edge of the box, blocked only as far as Boateng. Back to McGee. Decent little passage this for Dundee, but they're going back to Portales and then further back to McCracken, who takes a touch. Kyogo will go and close him down. Up the field it goes. Scales wins the header. Lammy nods it down to Silla, who just lifts it high up in the air. Scales again wins the aerial battle. Silla picks up and finds Boateng in the middle of the park. Forrest trying to get back at Hims. Boateng does just enough to get it to Mulligan, attacking the Celtic penalty area, clips it into the box. Carter Vickers knocks it away. Mulligan might have taken the shot on. I think the home fans wanted him to do so. The pass wasn't accurate enough, and it's out for a throw-in on this near side to Dundee, about 10 yards from their corner flag.
It has been a good spell, you're right, Alan. Boateng does brilliantly to nudge it to Mulligan. He tries across. He has got a strike on him, Mulligan. He's only 20 yards out at the angle, right hand side. I'm thinking just go and get the laces through it, son, but decides to try and cross it and let Celtic off the hook. But Dundee are in the forward areas for a change in this game in the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, they are, and here's Boateng, who gets the benefit of the doubt with a high boot there. And Dundee come forward. Carter Vickers just trying to see Scott Tiffany out the park as well as the ball, and he's managed to do both. And it will be a Celtic goal kick. We're at the midway point in this first half, and Tony Docherty, from his vantage point in the stand, will be pretty pleased by the way his side have coped with the title chasers Celtic so far.
Yeah, there was about 3 or 4 tackles there that they won the first ball, and they've come out of the tackle against the Celtic players, which that won't please Brendan Rodgers by any means. It doesn't please the fans also.
Here's McGregor, short ball for Scales, who's in an advanced position up towards Kyogo, gets his first touch. His second touch takes him away from his marker, but he couldn't get a third touch as Dodgson came across and helped out his centre backs and knocks out for a throw in this near side. Billy's got his gloves back on. It's still chilly despite it being late April, and just as we saw a wee bit of sunshine, as it's disappeared again as Forrest hits the byline. Left footed cross, a good one, and comes Kuhn. Atati's in there, stabs it goalwards but wide. Dundee just surviving that one as Celtic threaten really the John McCracken goal, but unable to post that on target. Rio Atati from 8 yards out.
Brilliant bit of play from James Forrest there. You know, he almost created that situation for himself. Lovely little sort of knocked it past the defender, got on the end of it, and put a really good, quick, early cross in. And there was, I think it was a Taylor, there was our Kuhn coming in at the back. It was a Kuhn, and his shot was blocked, and then Atati, you'd expect him to hit the back of the net from almost about 7 yards out, just
you
outside the post.
He can go both ways, can't he, James Forrest? Even though he's getting on in age, he can go inside and curl it, as you saw against Aberdeen last week, or he can go outside, and in that occasion he did hit a lovely ball. I'll tell you what, Dodgson has struggled at the start of this game, first 20 minutes, so that was such an important tackle on Kuhn, because if he doesn't get a block on it, I think Kuhn scores.
Yeah, incidentally, I don't think you're in any position to say that 32-year-old James Forrest is getting on in years.
Thanks, Al. I know I'm not the oldest here. Hold on a minute.
You're not still playing though, Billy, are you?
Here's Scales over a halfway line. I think the fact that James Forrest has just been in a Celtic jersey for so long makes you probably think he's older than he's 32. But it's Dundee attacking down the right hand side here. Bakayoko up against Taylor, into the penalty area he comes, looking for options. McCowan is one of them. Out to the left hand side now, and it's Dodgson, 25 yards from goal, sends a good ball in. There's Bakayoko at the back post. Should have done better, as Joe Hart's able to gather. He really just let the ball bounce off him more than anything else, and it was a comfortable take for the Celtic keeper when he shouldn't really have been given an opportunity to gather.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Bakayoko shouts at McGee to leave it. I think McGee should just go and power that header home. It's as if he took his neck away from it.
Here's McGregor coming forward, trying to slide it through for Kyogo. Let's go back to the Dundee chance, because you're right, McGee almost did leave it and Bakayoko made nothing off it.
I'm maybe doing him a disservice. I thought he was on it. I'm thinking that's a great ball, and a bit like Forrest, Pat, when he put it in the air, I'm thinking McGee's in here, he's going to pull it into the net, and he just sort of shrugged away from it, and I'm thinking, has he got a shout from Bakayoko? But Bakayoko didn't get the right contact straight at Hart.
I agree with you. I think McGee should have been powering that into the back of the net. He's almost taken his eye off it, whether it was a shout or whether he just thought maybe the defender was going to. But again, it was that ball into that back post, just off Scales' shoulder and into Taylor's area that caused the problem. Here comes again.
Yeah, here's Dodgson again, who provided that good ball. This time it's knocked away by Scales. Back to Dodgson on that left-hand side, who has had a difficult time defensively, but offensively he's put in a couple of really good balls in the last few minutes, but he's been penalised there over on the left-hand side, deep in Celtic territory. It will be a Celtic free kick, but yeah, Dundee has certainly shown that they can be a threat in this game as well.
Yeah, there's two things when you have to defend. One is you try to stop the cross, and secondly then you've got to get your body position right. Scales in that last occasion got himself into a really good position, and it was a header, but again the cross was allowed to come in from that left hand side.
Scales for Kyogo, nudges it back to McGregor, but he can't get it back to Kyogo, and Portales nicks it and plays it to Bakayoko, and now Silla taking over and bursting over the halfway line. Kuhn and O'Reilly trying to get back at him. They just halt him in his tracks, but McCowan gets the pass off to Dodgson, left hand side. Decent period this for the home side as they try and come forward on the left. Johnson though picks up for Celtic, trying to find Kuhn. Dodgson steps in, but he's fouled Kuhn, I think, is the decision from John Beaton there, and it would be another Celtic free kick over on that right hand side. But Celtic know they're in a game, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there's a good intensity to the game from both sides actually. Celtic obviously trying to quicken the pace up when they have the ball, trying to create those opportunities, but I've got to say Dundee is really sharp mentally, and they're doing all the right things defensively and hitting Celtic then on the counter-attack when it matters.
Dundee get through the first 15 minutes, that was important, and then they started building and creating a chance or two and getting into forward areas. And they've obviously looked at Aberdeen last week and said, look, we get in the forward areas, start getting crosses in. You see what happened with Aberdeen's goals, and they've done that in the last 5 minutes or so. It's a really good game so far.
Yeah, but no goals. But as Billy says, regardless of that, it's two teams going out for the victory. Both need it for differing purposes. It was under Paul Hartley that Dundee last avoided defeat against Celtic. A 0-0 at Celtic Park back in April 2018. As the ball's knocked back to Joe Hart, just at the edge of his own penalty area. 28 played, Dundee 0, Celtic 0 as Scales brings the ball forward up towards the halfway line. Looking for options ahead of him. One of them is Hatate. It's a straight ball forward. Boateng is with him out to the left to Forrest, who's been lively earlier on, but can't link with a teammate there, and it's picked up by Dundee. Tiffany throws himself to the ground. John Beaton is looking right at it, and I have to say, I think he got it right in the sense that he let play continue. Tiffany saw the ball was running away from him, just threw himself to the ground looking for a free kick and didn't get it. Here's Scales, left hand side for McGregor, midway inside the Dundee half, back out to Scales on the left, into the feet of Forrest at the angle of the box. Now Taylor and McGregor joining in into the penalty area, but of course on the cover was Boateng. It's a job that he does really well, Malachi Boateng, to stop Callum McGregor latching onto the pass as Celtic try to build down the left. 0-0 as 29 minutes comes and goes.
Something different from Celtic Park, wasn't it? Like the sitting midfielder just suddenly bursting forward, and Boateng had to come off his man and just cover round there to get it away.
Here's Hatate up to Kyogo, edge of the box. Oh, it's fabulous from James Forrest. What a strike from the edge of the box. It just sat up beautifully for him, and he more than did that justice as he lashed it in on the volley. John McCracken was just rooted to the spot as it flew past him away to his left. James Forrest with another wonderful strike in Celtic colours makes it Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
High quality, really high quality goal. Hatate involved, little ball into Kyogo. We haven't seen much of him, but he just almost popped it up for James Forrest to hit with that right foot. And James Forrest, we did say, he doesn't always stay wide. He finds himself in areas just about in that arc on inside, just outside the box, I would say, and he hits it with absolutely accuracy. And the goalkeeper, no chance, didn't even move for the goalkeeper. So what a good strike from James Forrest, just when Celtic needed that goal, when things were getting really tough for them. They found it through that man James Forrest. That's why he's in the team, Billy.
I'm not sure Hatate meant to. It's a great run from him, and then he gets to the edge of the box central. It's fired into him. I think he takes a bad touch and it pops up. But listen, Forrest, it's a bullet, isn't it? He's in the vicinity and just puts the laces through it on the volley. And as I say, it's a bullet, it's a missile right into that bottom corner, the left-hand post, and there's no chance for McCracken. It's past him before he even knows it, and it's a breakthrough that Celtic really were craving.
Yeah, it's a moment of real top quality from James Forrest for a 5th goal of the season, a 107th all told in his 489th Celtic appearance. What a wonderful servant he's been. By the end of the season, if he wins the League and Scottish Cup, he will have only Bobby Lennox ahead of him in terms of trophies won as a Celtic player. He'll go above Billy McNeil, who's on 23 currently. James Forrest is level with Scott Brown on 22, and I mean, he just has been quite a fabulous servant in his 15 seasons at Celtic, and he's popped up with a really potentially crucial but certainly magnificent first goal here at Dens
There's
Park.
life in the old dog. Yeah, I better stop calling him old there.
32,
He'll call me out, I know. A young lad.
He's probably old for that position.
Yeah.
Normally you get an older player sitting in the middle of the pitch or at the back, but when you have to go and put that energy in that he has to put into the game also, then he does it really well.
Some roll of honour that, although you're reeling out there, it really is.
Here's McKeown from the edge of the box, not far away, but off target in the end from about 25 yards on the left foot. But Joe Hart looked comfortable all the way, realising that wasn't going to threaten his goal. But it is about how Dundee responds, because they've been good in the game so far. They do find themselves that goal behind now.
Yeah, he does, and it's from a piece of quality, isn't it? Absolute quality. I don't think even defenders could have done too much about it, because it happened so quickly. The goalkeeper certainly couldn't do anything about it. So it's really down to the quality on the pitch.
I think you're right, Billy, in terms of the Kyogo touch on the edge of the box. The only thing I was going to say is that Hatate had a pocket of space, because Boateng had, I think, tried to track another man. Boateng has been sticking pretty close to Hatate, but he just allowed him to play that pass into Kyogo, and that's where the goal came about. But
Rich could tell us at half time. I thought it was Hatate, but Kyogo, whether it was intentional,
Kyogo,
yeah, if it was intentional or not, that's the key thing. It's not key, because it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not. Forrest bulleted at home.
Forward by Greg Taylor, returned by Portales, not kept in by McKeown. It'll be a throw into Celtic, just inside their own half on the left-hand side. Scales plays it square for Cameron Carter-Vickers, midway inside their own half. 33.5 on the clock here. Celtic lead by a goal to nil, and although there's a long way to go, they are shaping up to regain that 3-point advantage over Rangers with 4 games to play. Here's Scales for the goal scorer, James Forrest, edge of the box on the left-hand side, looking to shape the shot again, and it comes off the head of Lammy, who stumbles back there as a result of the ferocity of the shot. But he was brave, keeping his head in the way.
Looks groggy.
He does look groggy, and I'll tell you what, only for he got his head, and that was on target.
Yeah,
that had pace on it also.
Celtic pick up once more. Carter-Vickers short ball for Johnston inside the Dundee half. O'Reilly matched by Sillaby, gets the pass off to Hatate, who looks for the run of Kuhn, who's coming and doing that out to in run, but Dundee had read it, got bodies in front of him, and clear the lines down the left hand side. Carter-Vickers wins it above Bakayoko, and Celtic still have it now with Hatate right hand side coming in field. Back it goes to Taylor, just in the edge of the centre circle inside Dundee half, tries the very straight ball through for Kyogo, but it was cut out, and now Mulligan picks up for Dundee, driving up towards the halfway line, tried to play the pass, comes off the arm of Callum McGregor, who argues that his arm is by his side and was also within a yard or so of the passer Mulligan, but John Beaton decides it was a handball, it was a free kick, and it goes Dundee's way. With 10 to play in this first half, it is Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
Stopped a promising attack. I think that's why he's given it. His hand was out, but he was pretty close to Mulligan when he hit the strike. He was trying to hit a diagonal across to Bakayoko. He just comes off his hand and stopped a promising attack for Dundee.
Here's McGee, right hand side, steps away from Forrest, back to McKeown, midway inside the Celtic half. Boateng, that's a poor touch, and he takes out Callum McGregor as he tried to recover, and just wondered if John Beaton might think about going to his pocket for that, but he keeps him in his pocket, his cards, as he has done thus far, as McGregor now will just take a moment or two, hopefully from his perspective, and Celtic and Scotland one as well. This is it didn't look to be overly serious, but given his recent calf and Achilles,
he's banging the ground there, Al,
yeah,
as if he's not happy.
Yeah.
There might be a problem. I hope there's not, as you say.
It was a late challenge, without a doubt. Boateng had just lost control of the ball, tried to recover. He was late.
No malice, so was there?
No, I actually think that the referee made a good decision there, because he's sort of just lost control of it, and McGregor's come in on the side a little bit. So if it was straight on, then it's a different. You see him coming, then you have a chance to get out of the road, and you can stop yourself. But I don't think he could have stopped himself there. He just caught him late.
Good news for everyone is he's back on his feet without requiring treatment. I think he was making the point to John Beaton that was probably worth a yellow, but nothing shown, and McGregor doesn't look too much worse for wear, and Steve Clark can breathe a sigh of relief along with everyone else. As Dodgson prepares to take this throw in over on the far side. Dundee left midway inside his own half. Tiffany can't make anything of it. Scales knocks it over the halfway line. Boateng gets his head to it. McCowan and McGregor battle it out for possession. McGregor claims for a handball. It's not given, and Bakayoko picks up and plays it to the right to McGee. McGee up to the edge of the box. That comes off James Forrest, who is backtracking. And it'll be a Dundee corner. Now Dundee, as I mentioned earlier, have scored more from set pieces than anyone in the league. 17 goals from set pieces. That's 6 more than Kilmarnock before the start of play yesterday, and 11 of those have come from corners. So they are a threat without a doubt. And can they carve out an equaliser here as Dodgson comes across to the right hand side?
I'm looking at the front post. There's a huge space in there. If they could go and exploit it, Dundee.
Left foot of Dodgson to swing it in from the right hand side. Poor delivery, easy for Callum McGregor to deal with and knock it out for a throw in after building them up there with their set piece threat. Comes to nothing. Here's Jordan McGee though with the throw in on the right hand side, about 20 yards or thereabouts from the corner flag on the right. 7 minutes left of the first period. Celtic with a 1-goal advantage as the throw-in's taken to McCowan and back to McGee. McGee into the penalty area this time. Carter Vickers unchallenged heads away. Boateng gets it down to McCowan on the edge of the box onto the left foot. He's gone for goal. It should be an easy take for Joe Hart, and he just had to watch the bounce just inside his 6-yard box as it came to him, but it was straight at him and he holds on to it comfortably, and it remains Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
It's positive though, Pat, and I can understand why McCowan's tried. He's got good left foot on him and he gets a decent strike, and he gets it bouncing just before Joe Hart on this tricky surface, and he had to watch it all the way.
Yeah, he plays that position really well, doesn't he? You know, he's a busy player. He's quality on the ball. He's lively. He'll do his defensive closing down, but he's always a threat when he gets into those areas.
Here's O'Reilly, edge of the penalty area at the other end, looking to try and create something. Silla very close to him. Back to Taylor it goes. McCowan sticks a boot in, but Forrest picks up and pokes it out to the left hand side for Taylor once more, midway inside the Dundee half. Back to McGregor inside, and then Johnson as well, just the edge of the centre circle. Hatate's robbed though by Portales, and now Tiffany motoring forward for Dundee on the counter-attack. Johnston getting back at him. Tiffany spins and plays it to McCowan, edge of the box, out to the right hand side for Bakayoko. Goes for goal, again it's straight at Joe Hart. Not a bad effort, but not a good enough one to trouble the Celtic goalkeeper. And after 39 minutes it's Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
That was a good attack, good promising attack. I think it was a wrong decision. He kind of almost went for glory himself on the right hand side. He didn't have enough purchase on it to trouble Joe Hart. It would have been needed to be a world beater up in the top corner, but it was straight at him. I think he had other options.
It was a bit unlucky, Tiffany, because he puts it into McCowan, and if it doesn't fall with his right foot, he's only 20 yards out. I'm sure he pulls the trigger, but because it's sitting on his right boot, he decides to roll it wider to Bakayoko, and he tries a similar shot to McCowan a couple of moments before that and tries to curl it with his left boot, which was pretty easy for Hart.
Down goes Kuhn looking for a free kick as he tried to get on the end of Alistair Johnston's rather ambitious pass down the right hand side. Dodgson was just trying to see it out of play. Kuhn came in behind him and hit the deck, and the assistant was well positioned to say that wasn't a free kick and it will just be a goal kick to Dundee. 5 minutes left in the opening period plus any added on time, of which there shouldn't be too much at this stage at least, and Celtic lead by a fabulous James Forrest goal to 0 right in the half-hour mark. A volley from the edge of the box, which has given the league leaders the advantage. Scales goes up for a high ball and comes down, and thought it was a pretty heavy landing, but he's picked himself back up quickly, and it will be a free kick for the challenge though on Scales to Celtic just inside their own half. Short one taken from Taylor to Scales, and then back to Joe Hart and out to Carter Vickers on the other side. Crossing the halfway line now, Cameron Carter Vickers up to almost towards the edge of the Dundee penalty area, and now it's Kuhn into the feet of Hatate, right hand side of the area. Boateng is with him, and now Tiffany taking over. Back it goes to Kuhn. Kuhn with the left foot lifts it in, looking for O'Reilly. Tough ball to bring under control, and O'Reilly wasn't able to. Behind again for a Dundee goal kick. 41 played, Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
Ambitious, I would say.
Just a tad.
Pass. Like, it's a decent run from O'Reilly, but you know the pass was never really on. You've got to get it up in the air and get it down so he controls it, and you've got to be really accurate, and I think it would be better. Again, maybe probably the wrong decision.
Celtic have won in their last 8 visits here since a goalless draw April 2016. And they lead again here as half-time approaches, and Kuhn and Kyogo are trying to combine to lengthen their advantage before the interval. Kyogo tried to get it into the middle. It came off Lamy, and then it came back off Kyogo's face and behind for another Dundee goal kick. So with 3 minutes left in the first period, Celtic still have the slender advantage, and you could probably argue they're just about good value for it, would you say, Packy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that period, especially the start of the game, where the goalkeeper McCracken had to make 2 or 3 really decent saves. I think that was the intensity that the manager wanted at the start, and I think they've kept it up to a point. It was a great goal to give them the edge, but there's still a lot to play in this game, I can tell you.
Here's Portales, closed down by Kyogo, but gets the ball up the park. McGregor returns it, then Boateng gets his head to it. Oh, he's done well against a couple of Celtic players, Forrest and Taylor there. Then Portales knocks it long again. Bakayoko will chase, but to no avail as Joe Hart comes off his line to collect that one. And immediately bowls it out for Carter Vickers. Up to the halfway line again, he comes. Ball forward is cut out though by Silla, and now Tiffany will try and get Dundee up the park. McGregor with him, plays it off to the left hand side to Silla, and then back to the halfway line for Dodgson, who's recovered from a pretty tough start to the game when Nicholas Kuhn was getting the better of him, but Dodgson himself has put in a couple of good balls which caused a few problems inside the Celtic penalty area, dealt with ultimately, and Celtic back in possession through Carter Vickers. Short ball to Liam Scales, and then out to the left hand side to Taylor, just managing to keep the ball in, and then back to Scales once more, crossing the halfway line. McCowan goes to close him down, he plays it back the way to Carter Vickers. Bakayoko will go across and try and close him off, but it's back with Scales, who has a bit more room this time and moves forward to the midway point in that Dundee half, into the feet of Hatate, who plays it out to the left hand side to Forrest. Forrest back to Scales once more, still midway inside the Dundee half, closed down by McCowan. Out to Taylor it comes, Boateng is with him. Taylor once more into McGregor, who's got a bit of room. Celtic have worked it nicely, square for O'Reilly. O'Reilly out to the right hand side now to Kuhn. Kuhn up against Dodgson. Dodgson trying to show him down the line onto his right, and Kuhn tries to take that route, but the ball in from the right hand side isn't good enough from the German. Straight behind for a goal kick, and with 30 seconds of the 45 plus I think about a minute of stoppage time to go, it's still Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
But much better from Dodgson, because why? He got probably 3 yards closer and forced Kuhn to go down the line, but stayed with them, and then it's got to be a pinpoint throw. He's got to get it up over his leg, but he doesn't. He just slaps it out of play. But much better defending from Dodgson. If you leave Kuhn 3-4 yards, he's getting it the head up, he's getting the ball out his feet, and he's shaping it round you, whereas that time he's got to be inch perfect.
Johnston wins the header from the McCracken goal kick, but then knocked back upfield by Lamy. Bakayoko will again give chase, but Carter Vickers just shepherds him away from the ball, allowing Joe Hart to come off his line and grab it. It is confirmed as 1 minute, and we are into that now, the additional minute here at Dens Park, with Celtic leading by James Forrest goal to 0. Hatate now out to the right hand side, maybe a late chance in the half for Celtic to create once more. Kuhn again coming in field, across goes Tiffany, good support there for Dodgson, and then Johnston just knocks it out of play. It'll be a Dundee throw in, and the home fans still pretty encouraged by what they've seen here, despite trailing by a goal to 0. They have matched Celtic for the most part. They are only trailing to a wonder strike, it has to be said, which very little could have been done about, but they have seen their side perform well once again, and still very much in the game as the half-time whistle sounds. And Celtic do have the half-time advantage. They started brightly, and McCracken forced into a couple of early saves from Kuhn, and also to keep out a Greg Taylor header at the back post. Dundee just weathered that storm, however, albeit there was a Hatate attempt that went just wide from close range about 24 minutes in. And then at the other end, Dundee began to threaten. There was a Dodgson cross came in, which arguably Jordan McGee could have knocked into the net. He left it and Bakayoko couldn't make much of it, and it was straight at Hart. And then on the half-hour mark, the one moment of sheer quality we've seen in the first period, Hatate rolled the ball into Kyogo at the edge of the box. His first touch just sat the ball up nicely for James Forrest, who took over, and just as well because he lashed the ball on the volley away to the right-hand side of the goalkeeper into the bottom corner for the only goal of the game, his 5th of the season, and a strike well worth tuning into Sports Scene at 7:15 this evening to see. Dundee rallied as McCowan hit a shot straight at Hart, as did Bakayoko before half-time, but they've been unable to find an equaliser, and so at half-time it stands Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
On BBC iPlayer.
Mammals long ago invaded every habitat on Earth. They are now found in every ocean and on every continent, in the air and underground.
Mammals with David Attenborough.
In this series, we'll reveal the secrets behind their success.
Trying to spot a wolf in this is like a needle in a haystack.
And the challenges they now face.
They just don't trust you. They don't trust anyone.
Mammals. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon. It is Celtic who lead at the interval. What a strike it was by James Forrest, his 5th goal of the season, and right now it is enough to put Celtic 3 points clear once again at the top of the table. That, of course, following Rangers' win earlier, and they went ahead thanks to a James Bolton own goal. Mikael Mandron with a fine header to level things up for St Mirren, his 11th of the season. That came within 5 minutes of the opener, but Cyril Dessers won it for Rangers. A magnificent cross by James Tavernier, a 20th goal of the season for the striker, and Rangers at that point moving level on points with Celtic. But it is Celtic who have eked out that narrow advantage once again, thanks to that James Forrest goal. Highlights from both matches, as Al was saying, on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. And in terms of the week ahead, listen out for the Scottish Football Daily podcast Monday to Friday. It gets published each day. Pick it up wherever you get your podcasts. Wednesday night, you can settle back and enjoy watching some of the young stars of the future. It's the Youth Cup final, Aberdeen against Rangers at Hampden Park. That's live in the BBC Scotland channel from 6:45. And then on Friday, also on the telly, the final Championship Live offering of the campaign. The champions, Dundee United, against promotion-chasing Partick Thistle. That's to come in the week ahead. We're on until 6. We'll reflect on that earlier win, narrow win for Rangers at Paisley. We'll look back on the action from yesterday in the top flight, and indeed right across the SPFL. So still plenty to look forward to, including, of course, the second half from Dundee. It is Celtic who have the lead. I don't think it's quite hit the heights in terms of all-out entertainment like the match in Paisley, but it's a valuable lead right now, Pat Bonner, for your old team.
Yeah, they've got their goal, and I think they've started off the game with that sort of, probably, we talk about intensity. I think they controlled the game also because of it for a period, but they were always just a little bit vulnerable on the counter-attack, and Dundee got themselves in. And they've got those lively players, and McGowan and Tiffany, a bit of pace to carry the ball into dangerous areas. And you're never sure with Celtic's defence. There was a couple of balls into the box also. Good crosses on the left-hand side. I think there was a big chance for Dundee with that at the back. One of them at the back post anyway. The second one, Scales cleared. But you're always kind of, with 1-0, you're always sort of vulnerable and have to be desperate to get that second goal. But I think the player that we talked about before the game, James Forrest, the quality of the goal, the quality of the strike was fantastic, I've got to say. It was so quick, sharp and accurate, and it took everybody probably by surprise, not just us here in the stand, but I think the goalkeeper was left almost standing still when that ball hit the back of the net. And that quality, we talked about it, and the end product was there today. And he's been lively throughout also, and I think he's had a really, really good game. Good decision by Brendan Rodgers, I think, to start him today.
Well, he's certainly coming in fresh. Just a word about that goal, actually. It was Hatate with the low pass forward. I think you guys felt it might have been Hatate who popped it up. It was Kyogo who it popped up off. Now, I haven't seen a definitive replay. I don't know. I know Doddsy felt it might have just bounced up off him. It's either that or it's a touch of absolute class. But whatever, there is no questioning the strike. Billy, that was as pure a volley as you're going to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a technical piece of brilliance that's broken the deadlocks, as simple as that, because Celtic started really well. Rich had 15-20 minutes where they had a couple of shots and McCracken had to put them away, and slowly Dundee ground their way into the game and created a couple of opportunities. That was the other one I was going to ask you about McGee. Could he have put his head on that one of the crosses? It looked as if he pulled away to let it hit off back of Yoko.
Yeah.
But then Celtic, just a stunning goal, wasn't it? And just whether it was intentional or not to lay it off or pop it up, he just takes it so early in the goal.
I've just seen it again. Oh no, it's meant. Well, it's really interesting.
Come on, call it.
The action is a positive one. He has done what he was trying to do, but I think he was probably trying to pop it up for himself.
Yeah,
and then Forrest has run onto it.
Right, okay. So, yeah.
It wasn't that it just bounced off him. You can see he deliberately tries to do what he does. Maybe he's caught it a little bit heavy and it's just popped up away from him. But my goodness, James Forrest was so alert.
Yeah, he's so close to him. And I think that's the key. Because he's close to him, he just hits it so early and the goalkeeper can't get set. Now, it wouldn't have mattered a jot if he couldn't set himself, because it's past him and he just looked at it and thought, oh, I'm beaten. But it was, as I said, it was a technical piece of brilliance from Forrest. He's looked lively, he's going down the line sometimes, he's cut in. You saw the goal last week against Aberdeen when he just curled it into the bottom corner. This one is just a instinctive strike. So that's been the difference between the two teams, because Dundee have had their moments where they're in it and they'll still be thinking, don't lose a second, just keep it 1-0, we'll get opportunities, we've just got to take one. So it's not over with yet, this game.
Yeah, I mean, there were other chances for Celtic, and actually there was another piece of real quality from Forrest. We just dinked the ball over the defender in the box, and then crossed for it was Hatate who eventually just knocked it just wide. But yeah, Dundee have we've seen enough from them all season long, Pat, haven't we, to know that they are going to continue to compete, they are going to continue to cause one or two issues for that Celtic back line.
Yeah, listen, they're well organised. You know, you can see there that they match Celtic's intensity from a defensive perspective. They were sharp, both time in the middle of the pitch alongside Silla. They get into great areas to defend. They track their players, and then when they do break forward, that, as I said, that pace of McGowan and Tiffany, especially McGowan, he's a really alert player. He does his job defensively, and he's doing his job on McGregor, trying to get close to him. But then when they have the ball in those forward positions, probably about 30-40 yards out, you can see that he's always looking to get into a good position, whether it's to get a strike on goal himself or lay somebody in, and I think he's got something going here, Tony Docherty, with the group of players he has. Obviously he will probably have to change things around again in the summer, and can you get the same quality in? But they're young, they're alert, they're a team that's well organised, but they're sharp, and they're up to the intensity of the game. That's what I like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you may not have the same possession stats as Celtic, but if you can match them in the other part of the game, you'll always create chances, and I've seen so many teams that can't match Celtic's intensity, but he seems to have got that out of him, whether that's training, whether that's mentality, whether that's all the players being nice and sharp and being ready for the occasion, but he's got a tune out of them.
Yeah, he has indeed, and I suppose going into both games, you would fancy both Rangers and Celtic really to get their wins. I guess from St Mirren and Dundee, clearly they're hoping to upset the odds, but they're also hoping to put in the kind of performance that will give them some kind of momentum, some kind of hope for the final 4 games. Sunderland certainly did that, and Dundee have done that as well, haven't they?
Yeah, does that surprise you or me? No, not at all, because it's I kind of said it was a free hit, the remit, just make top 6, and then okay, there's a place here in Europe, one of the two, you're going to take it. That's just the icing on the cake, as I said at the start of the programme. That's what you want, so that kind of relieves the pressure going into these games, and that's why St Mirren put up a good show. No surprise Dundee are putting up a good show, and I feel as if there's more to come. I think Tony Docherty must have looked at that Aberdeen game last week and said, right, if you can soak up Celtic's pressure, which are going to pin us back at times, and just not lose a goal in that period of the game. If we'll get our times in the game where we'll create, can we put in decent crosses? You saw Junior Hoylett with his pinpoint crosses last week, and then the goals. If we can do that, we will cause Celtic problems, and they have done. And I feel going down this hill second half, if Celtic don't get that killer goal and gone and probably enjoy the second half, then the longer it goes, Dundee will fancy themselves to maybe go and nick something.
Yeah, we were told the last time we were there that hill doesn't exist anymore, does it?
I think there is. Always been a hill. They haven't changed the pitch.
We were told it had been levelled up. I know.
I've run up it enough here, so I know it exists, and it's not changed a bit.
The ground staff were trying to tell us that the work they'd done a few years back has levelled it out, and I mean, but you sit there and it still looks like, I mean, whether it's an optical illusion or not, there is absolutely, it feels like it. Yeah, okay. So Dundee need to get back into it. Of course, Tony Docherty, I saw him. He's in well, I'm assuming, given that he had the AirPod in, or one AirPod in, and that Scott Patterson down on the bench had the earpods in, or the earbuds in, that they were in some kind of conversation. I'm not sure just how much they're allowed to do in that sense, but obviously you can't have a real bearing. It's down to his coaching staff. Bottom line is it's not going to make a huge difference, is it? I know the manager wants to be there, but the coaches will be on exactly the same wavelength. They'll be able to get the message across in the same way as Tony would, won't they?
Yeah, they will. Stan Taylor and Big Scotty I know really well, and they're more than capable of just getting on with it. But it's nice to feed in a little bit of information from higher up if you see something. We said before the game, I thought they were going to play narrow after that brilliant performance against Rangers. Really caused them problems, and then he's tweaked it again, Rich. He's looked after the full-backs and widened out the midfield, so he just looks at every team differently, and he's obviously thought, okay, we'll leave one of Celtic's centre-halves on it. They have handled it well, Celtic centre-half, because they've driven forward and asked them a different question at times, but he's decided that the best chance for his team today, Tony Docherty, is leave Scales and Carter Vickers on it and see what they'll do with the ball and match up everything else.
Yeah, what they've done is they've got Mulligan and they've got Tiffany playing almost on the fullbacks, and as we know, Celtic fullbacks will come from out to in, especially Greg Taylor, so they kind of try to match them up a little bit. It's left their two fullbacks a little bit vulnerable, especially Dawson down that sort of left hand side. He was struggling early on, but he's coped better later on in that half up against Kuhn, and then they've left the two sitting players, Boateng and Silla, to try to almost take care of the two midfielders, Celtic's two midfielders, and they then pushed McGowan on to McGregor and left Bakayoko up front, and as Billy says, just leaving the centre halves, especially Scales, to drive forward the ball, and it does push you back at times, because obviously the centre half is pushing into midfield, and for even at times he was way over the halfway line and pinning you back, but then the defenders have coped decently well.
It pushed you back, Pat, you're right, but I was worried for Dodson, but he had one block tackle and couldn't, and it was a goal if he didn't get a block in, and then it's given him a sort of, Richard, a confidence surge, because he's got forward and then he started defending closer to Kuhn and getting tighter, instead of letting Kuhn get a free run at him or just shape it and cross the ball in. So Dodson has definitely kicked on a bit because he had a shaky start.
He's talked beforehand, Pat, about it was a defensive mayhem at times last week in that semi-final against Aberdeen. They looked better, they looked more solid.
Yeah, there was a couple of times that Dundee broke down the left-hand side, and the crosses come in too easy for me. They always do. and obviously then you've got to defend that back post, and the big chance for Dundee was the one that I'm trying to think was Jordan McGee. It looked as if he should have headed it.
I just watched it. This is the one, the long cross, the header that he does actually go for the header. He just doesn't quite time it properly. It skips off his head and bounces off Bakayoko in at the back post.
Yeah, and he gets in between scales and gets Greg Taylor, in that area, and that's where they were vulnerable last week too. And it's a difficult one because you're kind of, players are off your shoulders, the centre half. You need to rely on your fullback to give you good cover there, and then you're hoping maybe if it's overhit that the goalkeeper might come in and help you, but it's right into the back post. And that was our best chance. I think the second one, Scales kind of went deep and headed and did quite well. But that is, for me, that there are vulnerable spots for Celtic, because normally you have the fullbacks kind of almost out of position. They're higher up the pitch and they're not playing most of the time their defensive role, and they're kind of almost struggling to get back into those positions, and then you've got to be a really good defender.
I was relying on you, Rich. I thought I was doing him a disservice, McGee. I thought he was on it, and then it was as if he got a late shout for Bakayoko, and it just kind of hit off him and spilled into the goalkeeper's arms. But obviously
that is pretty much what happened. But I think McGee does actually go for it. It just doesn't quite time it.
Right. Okay.
I'll be honest. I hadn't seen the replay when you asked me first time, so I just completely blanked you.
I'm relying on you, man.
And I've seen it since. I was doing all sorts of things in here. There's so much going on this afternoon. Okay. But I did see it there. And look, he is. It's not as if. He's climbed high as well. It's just clearly when you're the cross is coming in from that distance, and you're at that kind of height, it has to be timed to perfection, doesn't it? And he just misses it. And you're right. I think it just skips off him, hits Bakayoko, and then Joe Hart is able to connect. But Dundee will be hoping to create more clear-cut chances in the second half. Celtic certainly looking to add to the narrow advantage given them in spectacular fashion by James Forrest. 5th goal of the season. Could it be that he's going to have a major impact in the closing weeks of this campaign? Dundee 0, Celtic 1, live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. Billy Dodds, Pat Bonner, and of course Al Lamont.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, back underway here as Dundee go from right to left in this second period, looking to salvage something from the game. 1-0 they trail going into this second period, and they were certainly competitive in that first half and will look to be the same. But Celtic crucially have got the goal and will look to add to their advantage as this second half proceeds. It's a Celtic throw-in over on the far side. No changes, incidentally, at the interval for either side, so it's still the same 11 that we started with. John McCracken in goal for Dundee, McGee, Portales, Lamy, who's in possession just now, and Dodgson with Silla, Boateng. Here's Tiffany in behind, just stop that momentarily. Scales makes the clearance, and back will come Kuhn to help out. Also, just to reiterate that midfield, Silla, Boateng, Mulligan, McCowan, Tiffany, and then Bakayoko. For Celtic, it's Hart in goal, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Taylor. Hatate, who's just made a challenge there on McCowan, and then Carter Vickers knocking it out of play. At the back of here, it's Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Kuhn, Kyogo, and Forrest, the man who's got the only goal of the game so far. A fabulous one it was from the edge of the box. His 5th of the season as Dundee get a throw in this near side. For those of you interested in the English Premier League, I see Arsenal have held on in the end to beat Spurs and go 4 points clear at the top. 3-0 at one stage they led. It was 3-2 in the end, but quite the title race down there as well, as Dundee have another throw in the left hand side, almost at the corner flag on the left. Dodgson preparing to take it. Tiffany makes the move. McCowan's also available, and that's who gets the ball. And now it's back with Dodgson, and McCowan once more spins one way then the other, looking to find room for the cross. Kuhn sticks with him and knocks the ball behind in the end for a Dundee corner. And let's see if their set-piece threat can be more potent in the second period than it was in the first. It's going to be Dodgson to take it again, this time from the left-hand side, so it'll be the outswinger, you imagine, from the left foot, although Tiffany's the short option here. He moves away, Dodgson fires it in towards the back post. Just a slight touch there from Joe Hart with the right glove to knock it away. It was a good touch in the end, and Celtic managed to knock the ball clear. Hatate sees it out of play over on the far side. Dundee throw in, and just in the first moment or two of the second period, still Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
I think it's the wrong sort of delivery. I'm watching Stan Taylor down there talking to Dodgson, and he's saying, like, clip in the air. Pat's right, there's a gaping hole there because McGregor's beyond the front post, and if you can just get it over him, they might get a block on out the group to spin into that front area, and he just drove it away to Hart, and I think the coaching staff weren't happy with the delivery.
Yeah, and going back to that corner, they've got Kyogo almost in the near post area. McGregor's been dragged out because he put two out to the ball, and there is a space if you can do a bit of blocking and you can make that early run. That is a vulnerable spot for Celtic.
Dundee have got themselves a free kick in a pretty central area. It's probably about 35, maybe even slightly more than that away from goal. So too far out for a shot, certainly, but it is an opportunity to try and threaten the Celtic goal one way or the other. It's Dodgson again who is over it. Just right of centre, clips it to the back post, and again McGee might have been in there, but it was Portales ultimately who made the connection, and it was a tame effort. He was on the stretch, and it was an easy one for Joe Hart to deal with in the end, although if it had been left to McGee, maybe he would have had more of a chance to properly get a shot in, as O'Reilly just gets away there from Silla, and on the cover was Lamy to knock it behind for a Celtic corner at the other end. It's a couple of minutes into this second period. Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, it was a good free kick, actually. A nice weighted ball. I thought he went with his wrong foot, actually.
He did.
And you know, maybe he has only one foot on him, Billy.
Or McGee gives him the shout and he gets a header in, because he's on the stretch, isn't he?
Here's O'Reilly's corner from the right hand side into the near post. Scales attacks it but can only knock it behind for a Dundee goal kick. I'm going to make a confession here. I forgot to start my stopwatch at the very start of the second half, so I have started it now. It's probably a couple of minutes behind, so any time checks that I give you are probably going to be guesstimates. Well, I'm told that my stopwatch is actually 3 minutes behind, so I'll try and do the arithmetic as I go through the game. So I'll try and keep you right, but the scoreline crucially is Dundee 0, Celtic 1. We've got a couple of excellent colleagues in my ear, not Billy and Pat, I have to say, but behind the scenes, who'll try and keep me right on the time front. But it's 1-0 Celtic, and it's a Dundee throw-in over on the far side.
Well, I don't think Celtic will be happy with the start of this second half. They've been pinned almost, you know, totally in their own half, and we talk about playing up the hill. They haven't dealt with it quite well, and it's allowed Dundee to put a little bit of pressure on them.
It's McGregor deep in his own half, just knocks the ball out of play over on the far side, the Dundee right, where they'll have the throw-in about 30 yards maybe from the corner flag. 6 minutes gone in this second half then, and it's still 1-0 Celtic. But here's McCowan on the right hand side, gets it back on that right flank, tries to get the cross, and it's charged down by Greg Taylor. But yeah, Dundee have started brightly in this second period, and they have another corner kick, this time from the right, and across will go Dodgson once more. Dundee certainly missing Owen Beck, who has gone back to Liverpool after the injury, which we think has ended his season. Tony Docherty not expecting to have him available again, and he's certainly a loss. Such an impressive young player, but Dodgson's done a pretty good job as his deputy, and he's preparing to take this corner kick from the right hand side as Dundee look for an equaliser early in this second half. It's an in-swinger into the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's Silla who gets the header in, but it's just wide. He attacked it well. He was being marked by Johnson. He got the better of him, but he couldn't force it on target, and it does remain Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
That's been clever from Dundee from that corner. Also, they've pulled the two centre halves, Celtic's two big centre halves, out of almost the position they want to be in, away to the back post, almost on the byline, and that left end saw Celtic vulnerable right in around the 6-yard box, and there was Silla just heading wide, and that's Celtic's sort of Achilles heel. They don't have a lot of height in the team. They don't have, if you pull those guys out, you're left then with probably Matt O'Reilly as the third one to deal with it, apart from maybe I'm looking around, maybe McGregor, James Forrest, they're not big enough.
But they've done their homework. That's the key thing here, Pat. They've said whoever Carter Vickers and Scales pick up, go to the back post, and we'll do an in-swing and delivery, and the other three go and attack it. We've got the better height, and it's causing Celtic problems.
But it hasn't resulted in a goal as yet. Celtic thought that should have been a goal kick, but Dundee have been given another corner over on the right-hand side.
Yeah, just let's see again exactly what's happening.
Same again, Scales is going for Bakayoko.
Yeah.
You'll see Carter Vickers, look, Lammy's just pulling him away at the back, and the other three go and attack.
Yeah, well, interesting times here as Celtic have another corner kick to defend. They came close, Dundee, to an equaliser last time out. And they'll try a similar delivery, you would imagine, again as Dodgson prepares from the right hand side to swing this into the Celtic penalty area. Still 1-0 Celtic as Dodgson, again it's a similar delivery, comes off the head of Taylor, and then Kyogo just smashes it clear. John Beaton has pointed for a free kick to Celtic in any event, but Celtic, well, they did what they had to do there. The line's cleared, the first contact, and they have survived, but it's clearly Dundee are a threat from these set pieces.
But I don't know why they have to go man for man on Bakayoko, and I think it's Lammy that's pulling the centre half head. I would rather see my centre halves almost sit right in that 6-yard box where the puck's coming to, and give somebody else the job of blocking off the centre halves or those big players.
What will probably happen there, though, is if they do that, they'll end up just putting it to the back post delivery and taking them out right out and playing. Bakayoko and Lammy will be there themselves.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactical battle that, as Dundee come forward again. Just too much in the pass there from McGee, and Mulligan couldn't catch it, but Tony Docherty will be pretty pleased with the way his side have come out in this second half. Brendan Rodgers less so, you would imagine, as the short goal kick is taken. Carter Vickers finds Johnston forward for O'Reilly, he looks for Kuhn, but Dodgson is first to it. Tiffany now helping it on. Bakayoko beaten to it though by Carter Vickers. Hatate gets a second bite at it after almost giving it away. Johnston. Celtic don't look just as assured at the start of this second period, that's for sure, and they have picked up possession though through Hatate, and now Johnston just in the halfway line gets it back from Kuhn.
Pat's on the money, he said Dundee have started better, and Brendan Rodgers will be hoping his side can pick up it pretty soon.
Kyogo challenged in the middle of the park, and it breaks Dundee's way. Bakayoko is taken out of play there by Johnston, and John Beaton thought about letting that one go, but Dundee still in possession, but then decides there's no real advantage and it will be a Dundee free kick, more or less, on the halfway line. Johnston's challenge on Bakayoko penalised, and Celtic have just got to get their composure back.
I think I'd be thinking at this point in time, probably, and I know Kyogo's on the pitch, he's been involved in the goal, but he hasn't done too much throughout the game. He may be sort of an option with that ball over the top of Dundee's pushing right forward with his pace, but I think Adam Ida, you've got to be thinking about him now into this. One, from a point of view of you can play the ball long and get up the pitch, and secondly then from set pieces.
Here come Dundee's Bakayoko, he's past Joe Hart, but Scales was round the back to cover and clear, and he had to be. Now the offside flag goes up, so it wouldn't have counted, or at least it would have been checked by VAR had it ended up in the back of the net. But again, Dundee causing Celtic problems, and they don't look at all comfortable just at the moment at the back. Celtic with 11 minutes gone in this second half, they still hold the advantage. Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, it was a good run from Bakayoko, and he got beyond that Celtic defence. He just needed a lesser touch, just a little skiff to take it round Joe Hart, but he got too much on it and it was cleared anyway, and then the flag went up.
Mulligan wins the throw-in over on the far side. The Dundee right, the home fans enjoying what they're seeing just at the moment, but of course they would love to level things up if they can and just take them that bit closer to St Mirren. Of course they would love a victory to go above the Buddies, but surely a point against top of the league Celtic would go down as a very positive one for Dundee, and then welcome St Mirren here next Saturday. And Bakayoko with a lovely little flick comes into the middle and behind again off Carter Vickers. Dundee really ramping up the pressure here, very much knocking on the door looking for an equaliser.
Yeah, that's it. I think what is that, about 4 corners they've had in this second half, and they're really good opportunities for Dundee. They've had 2 opportunities already out of probably those 4, and I can can see this ball again getting itself right into that 6-yard box. Bakioka's gone in this time and on top of Joe Hart, pulling away again.
Dodgson's delivery, right-hand side. Oh, it's met by McGee. He's got to do better. It's straight into the arms of Joe Hart, and that's a real opportunity. Goes a begging for Dundee for the equaliser as McGee found himself free, 6 yards out, downward header straight into the arms of Joe Hart, with lacking the power, and it remains Dundee 0, Celtic 1.
That's a hell of a chance, isn't it? I mean, we're just talking about the delivery. They are causing so many problems because their two main men, as Pat's correctly pointed out, are out the game. And it's Matt Riley that's picking up McGee, and he can't do anything about it. He can't get close to him. And he should do better with the header. Any little angle on it, any power on it is going to cause Joe Hart all sorts of problems. But it makes it easy for him, just pops it straight into his arms.
Joe Hart have been massively relieved to see that one come straight at him. Here come Dundee again, though, down the right-hand side. They are the team who look like they're going to get the next goal just at the moment. Celtic have got to ride this one out as Dundee get another throw-in over on the far side, about 15 yards away from the corner flag. Boateng comes up and collects. They've lost out though, and here's Kyogo picking up. Dundee trying to get bodies back. McCowan's with Kyogo, tries to get the pass off. Well, that didn't look like a free kick, but John Beaton's given it as a free kick to Celtic. Kyogo just looked to stumble almost, and John Beaton has given him a free kick. Dundee might have been in there had they managed to nick possession, but
he looked as if he was going to ground, didn't he? You know, and yeah, maybe he got a nudge at the end of it all, but I thought he had lost his balance. He was in control of the ball.
Celtic have it left-hand side. Hatate looking to begin to impose themselves on this game in the second half, because they have been on the back foot, the champions thus far. Hatate goes to ground as well, but that's not a free kick as Silla now finds McCowan crossing the halfway line. Tiffany picks up against Johnston midway inside the Celtic half, driving at the penalty area. Forrest comes back, just gets enough on the ball, and Carter Vickers then able to pop it clear to O'Reilly. He plays it forward for Hatate, just waits for the contact there from Silla, which does come, and that will be a free kick. That was sensible play almost from Hatate, who knew that Silla was going to come in at the back of him and eventually knock him to the ground. It will be a Celtic free kick, but they are having to absorb a fair bit of pressure here at the start of this second period. They've taken the free kick though for O'Reilly, out to the right hand side to Kuhn, up against Dodgson, just slides it forward, too much on it for Johnston, and Silla sees that out of play for a goal kick, and it remains Dundee 0, Celtic 1. 15 minutes of this second half played, an hour gone all told.
Yeah, Boateng's down, injured, I think. Whether he's gone over his ankle or something, I'm not too sure. But not going back to that free kick, he was clever. Hatate gets himself between the ball and the player, and as soon as then, you know, the player makes contact with him, he goes down and gets his free kick. And that's very much a European way of almost winning free kicks for yourself. It's part of the game, and they do it very, very well. And he's obviously from Asia, but same mentality.
Yeah, Celtic are definitely going to bring on a couple of new bodies, fresh legs, if you like. Adam Ida is one of them. Brian McLaughlin is pitch side from us. I wonder if he's in a position to clarify who the changes are going to be, Brian.
Yeah, Adam Ida is definitely coming on, as is number 4 Tomoki Iwata. Wouldn't be too surprised if indeed it's Hatate who's possibly going to be one of the players coming off, but I'll get that confirmed for you shortly, Al.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, Boateng, as Paki said, was just receiving or requiring a bit of treatment. He's back on his feet and he's jogging off, so he looks like he'll be okay to continue. But it is Brendan Rodgers who's going to go to his bench first of all, with Ida replacing Kyogo, as it turns out, as that's a shout.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but you might be more surprised at this one. Iwata is going to replace Callum McGregor.
Yeah, well,
it's just minutes. That's all it is. I mean, he's back from the long-term injury. I know you know that, but he's just, that's an hour in the legs. An important part of the season still to go. 4 games and it's cup final, so we've got to tread carefully with Callum McGregor. Can understand why.
He did take a knock in the first half as well, didn't he? But you're right, Billy. It's not so much it was a long-term injury, because I think he was only out for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but it's the nature of that injury. I remember Charlie
Achilles,
McGrew,
was it?
yeah, calf Achilles, and Charlie McGrew was talking about it's just one that you can't afford to play through at all when you've got an injury in that area. Whereas there are other muscle knocks that or muscle injuries that you can maybe just about see through, but when it's in that area you can't. And so Brendan Rodgers just keeping Callum McGregor hopefully fit for the rest of the season by replacing him with Iwata, who I have to say for the most part did a really good job as his deputy when he was called upon, as O'Reilly has it in an attacking area for Celtic, and back to Hatate, right hand side, plays it for Johnston on the byline. On the cover there was Tiffany, and it will be a Celtic corner right hand side as they look to put a bit of pressure on Dundee for almost the first time in the second period.
Yeah, I think it's the second time they've been up the pitch, really, which is incredible. But they worked it quite well there.
It's been good to be joust, so hasn't it? I mean, Tiffany's had to stay with Alistair Johnson all the way there, and Johnson's had to make sure he picks him up. He's looked dangerous.
O'Reilly's corner from the right hand side is a dangerous looking one. Scales gets something on it, but not enough to really trouble John McCracken, who gathers quite comfortably. And after 18 minutes of this second period, it's still Dundee 0, Celtic 1, on a knife edge to a point, especially given the start to the second half that Dundee have made very positive. Although you just wonder, having been unable to find the equaliser in that opening quarter of an hour when they were having so much of the ball and so much of the pressure, have they maybe just run out of ideas to a certain extent. But I'm sure they'll be keen to prove otherwise. But it is Celtic moving forward. Jordan McGee makes a good challenge on Taylor to stop him. McCowan can't get away from Iwata on the halfway line. It's out to the left hand side. Was it kept in there by Forrest? What is the decision here from the officials? Eventually the point for a Dundee throw in midway inside their own half. It's quickly taken. Scales knocks that down to Taylor. Taylor in the left back position, back to Scales midway inside his own half and all the way back to Joe Hart, who he hasn't been overworked, you would have to say, but that's not to say that Dundee haven't had shots on target, but none of them have perhaps troubled them as much as they should have from some of the positions Dundee have found themselves in. Here comes Celtic looking to find a second goal, which probably would take the game beyond Dundee.
Yeah, they've got to get up the pitch first. So they've started to control the game a little bit better in the last couple of minutes. You know, getting their passes away and linking the ball from the back to midfield. They were struggling early on in the second half to be able to do that because they were giving away lots of corners. And
here's Adam Ida, who no one has scored more goals as a substitute in the league this season. Now it's Kuhn, right hand side, good ball into the middle, and it was Lammy coming back there towards his own goal, just shuffles it behind, wide of the post, thankfully for him. 9,120 are inside Dens Park watching this one. A really intriguing game, we'd have to say. Celtic by no means secure in the 3 points just at this stage with 25 minutes to play. They've got a corner on the right hand side though to be taken by O'Reilly. Left footed, swings it near post, flicked on and away as Kuhn returns it. McGee across to head it clear once more, helped on by Mulligan. Hatate returns it to the edge of the penalty area. Boateng and Taylor there jousting for that one. Comes to O'Reilly, right hand side, Dundee player has gone down, comes off Tiffany, and it will be a Celtic throw in. It's McCowan, the Dundee captain, picking himself up, rubbing his head. There will be a Celtic throw in. Kuhn just leaves this one to Johnston. Dundee are going to make a change, which we'll get news of in a moment from Brian. Johnston though has it from the right hand side for Celtic, rolls it infield to Iwata. Back with Scales, just about 15 yards inside the Dundee half, central area, slides it forward to Ida, who tries to use his strength to hold off the marker, but Dundee have pinched it back off him. Chance taken though, and poorly done so, and it's a chance for James Forrest to score his and Celtic's second, burying it beyond John McCracken. Dundee making it a real mess of it at the back. Should have cleared the lines, failed to do so, and you don't give James Forrest a sight of goal if you want to survive, and Forrest buries it beyond John McCracken, and it's Dundee 0, Celtic 2.
And they've had a shocker at the back, Dundee, though. I think it's hard to see with this post, but I think it's Lamy who tries to dribble out. It's either him or Portales. They try to dribble out, they get caught in the ball. Then Forrest brave, because he goes into the challenge and it breaks for him, and it just sits up perfectly. He's 10 yards out, he's through 1-1 in goal, and you can see with the first goal, his goal last week against Aberdeen, the confidence is up, and my word, he just buries it way below the goalkeeper. McCracken, he's no chance with another instinctive finish, isn't it? It's just sheer power that blasts it past McCracken, and he's been on top form today. Forrest, that's him at the double.
Yeah, and they're making a change at Dundee. They've taken, you can call it, Al.
Yeah, it's Dara Costello who's coming on for Scott Tiffany, and in fact they're going to make a second change as Finlay Robertson comes on to replace Boateng, who's clearly not entirely recovered from the knock he took a few minutes ago. But yeah, let's go back if I could give you your say on the James Forrest second goal.
I didn't quite see it because the post is right in our view, but I seen the finish, and the finish was exceptional. You know, 1v1 with the goalkeeper, and hits it with pace under the goalkeeper, and you know, a crucial goal for Celtic. They haven't been really in the game in the second half, but they have that quality, and that quality today has come through James Forrest, which is a man. What did you call him? One of the old ones, Billy?
I'm saying nothing. I got a row the last time from
veteran winger.
I'll tell you what though, he is in top form, isn't he? And when he got into that position, we wouldn't want anybody else here the way he's been playing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was a clinical finish, no doubt about that. As soon as the ball sat nicely for him, this time on the left foot, I think he took it, just hammered it beyond John McCracken after Dundee getting a Frankel at the back. Yeah. And I mean, the chance they took was certainly not one worth taking. They've been made to pay for it, and you would have to imagine that as much as Dundee were still well in the game and had started the second half so well at 1-0, but at 2-0, it's a long way back against Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm just looking at, I don't know what Joe Hart was, he came all the way over here to the dugout to chat to the goalkeeper coach, Stevie Woods. I'm not sure what it was, a tactical situation. Maybe it's the corner situation he's trying to get sorted out or whatever, but certainly there was some sort of instruction that he wanted to give to the bench to sort things out.
6 goals for the season then for James Forrest, 5 in the league, and the 2 he scored today could prove hugely important as Celtic go for another title.
I've played in many games where you know, you've been under the cosh a little bit, and you've kind of doing your best to defend and stay in the game, and then you're desperate for somebody with quality to score that goal, even when you're not in it. In the past, it used to be the Charlie Nicholases or those strikers, but when you have a man of James Forrest quality and the team that just kills the, I wouldn't say kills the game off, but gives you that breathing space, it is priceless.
Neil McCann and Stevie Thompson said earlier, just get the job done. Doesn't matter how you play this stage of the season, and at times that's what Celtic have done today.
Here's Kuhn into the penalty area. Ida tries to lay it off. Dundee able to clear through Portales. Yeah, I have to say, as a result of the stanchion of the stand, it is rather impedes our view of a certain part of the penalty, and that was exactly where Dundee gave it away for that second James Forrest goal. So I wasn't clear whether, I thought maybe it was Portales just because it was the right centre back area, but it might well have been Lamy because they are quite similar from a distance as well. And either way, the defence not doing their job on that occasion in terms of getting the danger clear, and Forrest taking full advantage and giving Celtic a 2-goal lead. And now under 20 minutes to see out before they move 3 points clear again of Rangers with 4 to play. And that Old Firm game coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Before that, Celtic have a home game against Hearts. Of course, Hearts won at Celtic Park earlier in the season, so it's by no means a formality. Here we're going to get another change. Brian's got news of the latest substitution that's coming.
Yeah, you'll hear the huge applause coming from the Celtic supporter. That's coming for James Forrest with his 2 goals this afternoon. He's being replaced by Lewis Palmer, but what a performance today by James Forrest.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, he's a special player. As I say, first starting his first game since November, but he has more than justified his inclusion here today. Longest serving player at the club and approaching 500 appearances. Here's Adam Idah, right hand side, as Celtic look to just add to their advantage and improve their goal difference even further as Hatate goes for a goal off the post. Celtic fans at the other end thought it was in, and Dundee breathe a sigh of relief as the 2-goal advantage doesn't turn into 3, and they break forward through. Costello gives chase up against Liam Scales, who shows good pace and knocks it out of play for a throw-in down near the corner flag, but Hatate so close to making it Celtic 3.
Yeah, wonderful play, wasn't it? He got the ball edge, but lots of space for him, I've got to say, at the edge of the Dundee box. He went to go and take it on his left foot and then just almost checked with his body and created the opportunity for himself, and he toe poked it, you could say.
Here's Dodgson from the left hand side, right footed cross is dealt with by Iwata out of the penalty area. It comes. Robertson will pick up though for Dundee on the right hand side, comes forward looking to try and get the cross in, charged down by Taylor over there at the expense of a corner kick. Actually it was Palma working back there, wasn't it, against Robertson, and he knocks it out of play, and it will be a Dundee corner, which have looked dangerous in this second period. And I guess, as much as I was saying at 2-0, it's a long way back, but if they can get a goal now, you just never know. With over a quarter of an hour still to play, Dodgson going across to take this latest corner kick from the right hand side. Dundee looking for a way back into the game. McGee passed up a massive opportunity not so long ago in the Celtic 6-yard box, and they might live to rue that. But here's Dodgson with the latest left foot delivery. It's not a great one, but Portales almost made something of it. Second time that's deflected in. Adam Idah, I think, took a swipe at that and has somehow sliced it beyond his own goalkeeper, Joe Hart. It's a crazy goal to concede, but Dundee do have a way back into the game. It is Dundee 1, Celtic 2.
Well, I did say Adam Idah's come on to, and I thought he's done okay higher up the pitch. He's come into a defensive role today. He would have made a difference in the air, but certainly that time the ball's dropped to him. I think about 7 yards out, and he's taken a swipe as Withers come up off the deck and wrong-footed Joe Hart in the back of the net to create and more pressure on themselves and keep Dundee right in this game.
You know, is it Portales that hits the strike when it comes out and he just throws a leg at it? It's kind of behind him, but the corner kick has caused Celtic problems all day. Portales just swipes at it, it's going towards goal. I know Idah takes a swipe and connects with it, ends up the net with a deflection, but right back the game.
Dundee have just made a change, and it looks to me like they're changing formation to a 3 at the back. It's Aaron Donnelly who's come on for Josh Mulligan, and he's gone in at left centre back alongside Lamy and Portales, with McGee and Dodgson now operating as wing backs. I'm not sure if that's a change that Dundee wanted to make to the system, regardless of whether they got that goal or not. But Adam Idah scoring a bizarre own goal. I said he'd scored more goals, or no one had scored more goals as a substitute in the league than him. Well, I'm not sure he'll want to add that one to his tally. It was just a curious one.
I want to go back to the corner and the goal. I can't believe that Adam Idah has gone into the near post area, and when he's 6 foot whatever, and he's got to be picking up that 6-yard box where the ball was landing in, and he can deal with it. He was like the last man coming out, but he's almost out of the game for those corners.
Celtic trying to mount a counter as Joe Hart at the other end was almost closed down, but manages to get his clearance away, and now Celtic pick up on the right hand side. Just under a quarter of an hour and it's game back on. Dundee looking to prove my statement wrong about being out of it at 2-0 down. They're now 2-1, and you'd probably argue that they deserve to have that goal, given particularly their second half performance. Here's Palma at the other end, midway inside the Dundee half. Knocks it back to Iwata. And without that reassuring presence of Callum McGregor, you just wonder how Celtic will react. But it's Johnston out to the right hand side for Kuhn, gets it back once more, the Canadian fullback, and now back to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Joe Hart was completely wrong-footed by the Ida swipe at the ball as he tried to clear it just about 6 yards out, and it went slicing into the back of the net. A very, very strange goal. You'll see it yourself on Sports Scene tonight at 7:15 on BBC Scotland as Iwata comes forward and out to the left-hand side. But Celtic still looking to try and re-establish that 2-goal advantage that was given to them initially by the James Forrest brace. There's Iwata, infield it goes to Palma. Palma tries the straight ball through the middle, it doesn't happen, but Greg Taylor gets it to Johnston. Johnston into Ida, looking to atone for that bizarre own goal. Now it's Iwata, edge of the box, out to the right hand side. Kuhn forced further wide than he would have hoped to be, but does get the pass off to Johnston. Now it's back with Iwata, and Kuhn once more. He's got a bit of space now in a more central area, looking to find Ida, but Donnelly steps in and just pokes it clear and up towards Costello, who's looking to put Scales under pressure, but Scales deals with it and gets it to Carter-Vickers. Just your thoughts on the change of shape for Dundee, Billy?
And I was thinking about it, and whether they made it just as they were scoring the goal and they decided they've got to go with it now. But I know why they've made it. They've got Costello up and try and get close to Bakayoko, but for me they've handed the fullbacks the initiative. You can see Alistair Johnson getting on the ball at will.
Here's Palmer, left hand side for Celtic, teases it into the back post, and Dodson does just enough to see that behind, with Kuhn coming in behind him, and it will be a Celtic corner. Dodson claiming he didn't actually get anything on it, but it was a difficult ball to deal with from Palmer, and he did saw the danger clear behind, and it will be a Celtic corner right hand side with about 12 to play.
I thought Palmer had a better option. Tati went on the outside of him, almost a 2v1 situation, and he was in if he had to just slide the ball to him, but he went for the cross.
O'Reilly corner right hand side into a good area, but headed away by Bakayoko, helped on by Dodson. Iwata returns it, poor touch from Kuhn, and it's out for a throw into Dundee, deep inside their own territory, left hand side. We've got about 11 minutes left in this second period, plus added on time. It is Dundee 1, Celtic 2, and still all to play for.
All to play for, and if Celtic get out of it with 3 points, it'll be a job well done. But it's been a hard fought game, as we said at the start of the game, that there was no easy game coming up here, Dundee, with the way that they've been playing.
No, absolutely. I don't think anyone would have expected it to be otherwise, despite the results that have gone in Celtic's favour so far this season. The 7-1 has never looked like being repeated, as Dundee have given a brilliant account of themselves, but they trail by 2-1, and it will be the mark of champions if Celtic can see that out, you would imagine. It's a throw in to the visitors over on the far side, left hand side as Celtic come forward. And it's Taylor getting it back from Hatate, then rolls it into O'Reilly, comes off Silla and behind for another Celtic corner, this time left hand side, with as the 80-minute mark ticks around.
It's a hard one for Tony Docherty, and he's committed to that shape change. You get the feeling now, and I know why you're saying it, that it kind of handed Celtic the initiative. Not that they needed, they're up 2-0, but they've lost the goal, and now Celtic are dominating possession.
O'Reilly with the outswinger this time. Carter-Vickers gets his head to it, away out of the 6-yard box, but it comes back to Carter-Vickers. Now Hatate, who was denied by the post just a minute before Dundee got back into it. Scales now for Hatate once more, right hand side is Greg Taylor, slides it forward, but no Celtic player had made the run that Taylor had anticipated, and it's easily gathered by John McCracken. We've got under 10 minutes to play here.
Yeah, Hatate went to go, and then he stopped, and Greg Taylor had his head down on the ball and just played a little pass, get possession away.
Costello chasing a ball forward there, but never in any danger of catching that, and it's out for a throw in to Celtic deep in their own half, right hand side, to be taken by Alistair Johnston. O'Reilly comes and offers himself short, not too many other options, and eventually does go to O'Reilly, gets it back to Johnston, holding off McCowan, comes forward down the right hand side and then feeds it down the right, looking for Kuhn. Caught. Portal is there. Well, the assistant referee hasn't seen that. It looked like he caught him on the shin, and he's given the throw in to Celtic, which is quickly taken into Hatate, and back with Johnston, just knocks it over his own shoulder. O'Reilly can't get it, Norkinsilla, and Lammy's attempted clearance comes off O'Reilly and back into the arms of John McCracken. 2-1 Celtic. Just about 8 minutes of the 90 left to play, and having been 2-0 up and looking good for the 3 points, Celtic still have a bit of work to do as Costello tries to bring a long ball under control. He can't do so under pressure from Liam Scales, and out comes Joe Hart, and it's still 2-1 Celtic.
And there's the advantage it gives you though, because he's got pace, Costello, and he tell you, he nearly got away with that. He just pinged a long straight ball and he just bumped against Scales and he lost the flight of the ball, Pat, and he was nearly in at the back of him, Costello, but Hart was on the edge of his box to take it.
Yeah, anything could have happened. It's dealing with that long ball again that Celtic just struggle a little bit with.
Up towards Ida it goes, gets his head to the ball and just then tries to flick it down the line, but it doesn't come off and it's straight out of play. And Adam Ida has been a very positive signing on the whole since coming to the club on loan from Norwich in January, but hasn't quite been his afternoon so far today, with about 7 minutes to play. His own goal has allowed Dundee back into it.
Yeah, I thought when he's come on the pitch, he give them an out, give them something. Much better than what Kyogo had for them, but then of course he's got caught on the goal.
Carter Vickers trying to hold off Costello inside his own penalty area, does really well, always assured, and finds Taylor, and then McCowan cuts out the ball forward, but out for a throw-in to Celtic. 7 to play, Dundee 1, Celtic 2. Celtic looking to re-establish a 3-point advantage at the top of the table over Rangers, who won 2-1 earlier on today in a very hard-fought sounding game in Paisley. This has been no different for Celtic, you'd have to say, despite the fact that they went 2-0 up. Dundee quickly getting back into the game, and it's going to be a very, very interesting last few minutes here at Dens as Hart takes the short goal kick to Scales, quickly closed down by Bakayoko. Back to Hart it goes, poor clearance. McCowan picks up, and now Costello out to the left hand side. Dodgson, back came Kuhn to get a good challenge in. There will be a Dundee throw-in though, and up will come.
I just don't understand that. You know, you're in an area of the pitch which is probably the worst part of the pitch. You've taken the goal kick short, and you know that you're going to become under pressure. It goes back to Joe Hart, and the only thing he could do in a rough, bubbly part of the pitch is kick it, and he miskicked it and put the pressure right on them.
So it started it, and Dundee have 2 forwards now, so it's always going to get pressed.
Aaron Donnelly, long thrower from the left-hand side. Carter Vickers wins the first contact, and Palmer can carry it out of the Celtic penalty area. Dundee getting bodies back. Portales is one of them, plays it back down the line, but it's picked up by Taylor. Taylor plays it forward in the left, looking for Palmer. Cross comes McCowan on the cover and knocks it out of play as Celtic look to counter there. McCowan stops that. It's still Celtic looking to come forward on the left-hand side. They've got a throw-in midway inside the Dundee half with about 5 minutes left of the 90, plus some added on time. There haven't really been too many stoppages, but a number of substitutions, so it'll be probably at least 3 minutes, you would imagine, to be added on at the end as Dundee get the ball semi-clear and then out for a throw-in to the home side. Over on the far side, the Dundee right, deep near their own corner flag on that right flank, looking to get the ball up the park and earn themselves another point, an unlikely point perhaps, having been 2 goals down. But here's Taylor as Celtic look to clinch the points once and for all. Iwata thought about a shot there from 30 yards, instead plays it to the right to Johnston. Johnston then tried to poke it for Kuhn. It wasn't an easy one, and he just knocks it out of play in the end. Iwata didn't do him any favours with his pass, and it's a throw into Dundee to be taken by Donnelly. I think we're going to get another change here as Michael Mellon is about to come on for Owen Dodgson, and I wonder if that will mean another change of formation, or whether Costello, you'd imagine, will drop back to maybe just that left wing back position as Mellon joins Bakayoko up front. As Dundee prepare then to take this throw in. 2-1 they trail with 4 minutes left of the 90.
Positive sub, isn't it? It's a natural striker up there. Costello, he's a wide player more than anything, but he's got pace, as we've seen, so he's in the wing back area. It's now a forward thinking player, and 2 strikers up.
Launched strong by McCracken, looking for Mellon. Out comes Hart and grabs that before Mellon can make anything of it. That would have been quite the impact off the bench, but Hart read the danger and comes off his line, and now just rolls it out to Liam Scales. 3 minutes or less to play, with Celtic leading by 2-1. Hatate into the feet of Iwatan, back with Carter Vickers, midway inside his own half. Now Scales just inside the Celtic half, plays it to the left hand side for Palma. Palma now comes infield and plays it to Hatate. Strong challenge by Silla, takes enough of the ball to content the referee John Beaton, and Dundee have possession back all the way back to the goalkeeper though, McCracken, who will take a touch, and Ida will go and try and close him down. McCracken does well and gets the pass off out to this near side to Donnelly, who will play it down the left flank for Costello. McCowan then lifts it forward for Donnelly. He's got Mellon in the middle. Can he pick him out? He does look for him. Scales is back to cover and knocks it behind for a Dundee corner. Well, it was a good counter-attack, but it doesn't quite end up in a goal as yet.
No, it was a really good play. It starts with the goalkeeper doing really well, and then really good play out in this sort of almost left-hand side, and Scales just getting back in time. He was out of position, but here's the corner going to come in.
Yeah, corner kick then from the left-hand side as Dundee load the 6-yard area, looking to try and find an equalising goal here. Costello preparing to take the corner kicks, a low ball towards the near post, and it's not a good one, and Taylor able to easily get it clear.
As I've seen, you've got to miss the first man, and he doesn't, and we know Dundee have caused trouble all day with the corners. So disappointing. It's just if they can fashion one more chance in these final moments.
It's Donnelly now who's going to wind up a long throw in from the left hand side, in line with the 18-yard box, this one. Dundee looking for a leveller to enhance their own European prospects. Into the 6-yard box, that one comes. Scales wins the header. Up goes Robertson. Carter Vickers gets it away, clear out of the penalty area. Palma will look to pick up the loose ball. He's got the better of Donnelly in there, tries to release O'Reilly, and it comes off a Dundee player and out for a throw-in. It could have been worse for them if they'd managed to get it through to O'Reilly, but it's a throw-in to Celtic on the halfway line, right hand side. We've got less than a couple of minutes to play of the 90, and all eyes on the fourth official, Peter Stewart, to see how long it will be added on at the end here, as Johnston has it, rolls it into the feet of Ida, midway inside the Dundee half. Hatate gets the pass off to the right hand side to Cooney. He was caught late there, and John Beaton's brought it back, as Hatate looked like he might have taken a sore one, and it will be a free kick to Celtic.
Yeah, just going back to that last corner, it was a really good header from Liam Scales. It was right, and I'm looking for Joe Hart to come there and punch that, and it was almost in about 2 yards from the goal line, and Liam Scales got up above everybody and put a really good header, defensive header, and that's what you're looking for, but I thought the goalkeeper should have came.
Celtic have a free kick then, about 15 yards inside the Dundee half. Short one taken by Johnson to O'Reilly, back with O'Reilly, right hand side.
Good.
Tried to link there with Nicholas Kuhn, but O'Reilly then allowed to continue. Johnston gets the ball into the 6-yard box, but right into the arms of John McCracken, who was looking to release it early. I was going to say 5 minutes, I'm told it's going to be added on. We are almost at the 90-minute mark, so those 5 minutes will begin just shortly, as McCracken eventually tries to fire it long, and there is the 5 minutes announced. I'm not sure, John Beaton signalling for something, but for the life of me, it can't work out.
Yeah, it was a block by, I think, Adam Ida.
Yeah, free kick.
5 nervous minutes for Celtic, you feel?
Yeah, could be. McCracken now taking that free kick. I think Ida penalised for blocking the attempted clearance initially, and it's down the right hand side. Taylor gets his head to it, knocked forward by Palma, and then helped on by Hatate. Ida on the chase here. Portal is with him. Ida gets in front of him though, down the left hand side near the corner flag for Celtic. Ida trying to play it into Palma once more. Dundee stop him. Breaks for Iwata, midway inside the Dundee half, out to the right hand side. Kuhn will be closed down here by Donnelly. Back in field he goes to Iwata, and now it's Scales in the centre circle. Intelligent ball for Johnston, who's in a bit of space here on the right hand side. Not a great ball for Kuhn, but he manages to keep it in on the right flank, coming infield now away from Donnelly, or at least trying to. Forward comes Taylor, out to the left it goes to Hatate. Still about 30 yards from goal. It's Palma who takes the shot on. He drags it well wide, and a couple of his teammates saying, well, what are you taking the shot on for? Brendan Rodgers asking exactly the same question. It's rather naive play from Luis Palma. Celtic has good possession. All they need to do at this stage, Packy, is keep it.
Absolutely. You know, you just managed the game out. You know, he's going for glory there when it was never really on, and he's given possession back to Dundee and putting his own team under pressure.
Tati's got it back for Celtic. Portales though in the way of his forward ball. Palma gets his head to the ball in the middle of the park, and now O'Reilly, he's lost it though, and McCowan will help it forward. Costello can't quite reach it. Johnston in the way, and there's a Tati out to the right hand side for Kuhn. Played a minute of the 5 added on as O'Reilly sends it into the channel for Ida inside the box. He cuts it back. There's no Celtic players there waiting for it, and Dundee pick up, and the fans urge them forward on the counter, and they pick the pass here for Mellon. It's over him, and it's a poor pass in the end.
He's got to turn and chase it, Mellon. He's too busy shouting it. He's hooked to delivery, no problem with that. Give it a chase. Celtic still have it left right back.
Yeah, and Johnston gets it back to Joe Hart. Takes a touch inside the 6-yard box before knocking it up towards the halfway line. Donnelly with a header back forwards. Carter Vickers will return it up towards the halfway line. Donnelly shoved in the back there by Ida though. It's a free kick to Dundee, about 15 yards or so inside the Celtic half. And this is a chance to go and load the box once more and put pressure on that Celtic back line in search of an equaliser.
Yeah, absolutely. Get all your big players forward. A bit poor from Adam Ida there, I've got to say, giving away an unnecessary foul, really.
So Luke McCowan, the Dundee captain, to take this one. Everyone else, barring John McCracken, up towards the edge of the Celtic penalty area. Celtic trying to hold as high a line as possible, about 5 yards outside the box. In comes McCowan's delivery. It's a good one to the back post. The header comes in from Mellon, I think it was in the end, but it's wide of Joe Hart's left-hand post by a good 2 or 3 yards in the end, and nothing comes of it. John McGee thought Billy got the last touch on it, but either way it ends up wide, and it will be a goal kick to Celtic with 2.5 minutes left of stoppage time.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad area. I thought maybe Joe Hart was coming for it, and then he left it. And then I'll tell you what, they run a couple from deep because it's a high zonal line for free kicks for Celtic. And when they run in, McGee, I'll tell you, if he gets that across the goalkeeper, Celtic in trouble, but he just skiffs it wide, and it was a good area and a good opportunity as well.
Joe Hart taking his time over his goal kick. Dundee fans not happy, but I'm sure they would be doing likewise if they were in Celtic's position with a 2-1 advantage in the final couple of minutes of stoppage time. Celtic just looking to see this one out now as Dundee get the throw in over on the far side.
They chose the wrong option there. They went McCowan short. I'll tell you, the two runners just get it beyond and ask Celtic the question.
A few yards stolen down that right flank as the throw-in's taken. Silla helps it forward. Iwata just thumps it up towards the halfway line. Lamy as well to move away from Ida. Takes a chance but gets away with it. Doesn't really get away with the second one, but he's recovered well and he's through a couple of challenges, and now he's found Donnelly. Left-hand side, can he deliver? Oh, it's a poor one from Donnelly. Looks like he's going to go behind from the cross. Bakayoko was doing everything he could to try and keep it in, but Donnelly in a good position, just got too much in the ball, and it's going to be a Celtic goal kick. And we have got under 2 minutes of stoppage time to play. Joe Hart's got a yellow card for wasting more time at the free kick, but I don't think he's going to be too perturbed about that if Celtic see this one out, leading as they do by 2-1.
Yeah, they've not created a brilliant chance, but they've put the pressure on. It's been nervous. Celtic, you can see they're making wrong decisions in this last 5 minutes, but it'll look as if they're going to go over the line and just get the job done.
Ball's out on the far side, and it's been given as a Celtic throw-in just inside the Dundee half. 90 seconds or thereabouts of injury time as the Celtic fans begin their celebrations. They look like they're heading 3 points clear once again. Goal difference will be exactly as it was before the 2 kickoffs today, which is a difference of 5 in Celtic's favour, as well as the 3 points. Dundee, well, it's a full-time whistle. Dundee couldn't create a further chance, and Celtic have taken a massive step once more towards another league title. They have seen this one out. having opened up a 2-goal advantage, it looked like the points were going to be safely theirs, but Dundee had other ideas coming back into it. It's courtesy of an Adam Ida own goal after James Forrest double had put Celtic in command. But Dundee kept knocking away. They could not find the equaliser, however, and Celtic have got the job done as they needed to do. It wasn't pretty at times, but they have done exactly what they were required to do at the start of proceedings today. They have reopened that 3-point advantage at the top of the table. James Forrest double, enough to give them the 3 points. And they will move on to Celtic Park next weekend against Hearts, while Dundee will welcome St Mirren in a huge game as they tussle for 5th place and a European spot. But at full time here at Dens Park, it finishes Dundee 1, Celtic 2.
The Scottish Premiership.